Welcome back, my friends. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, every morning I get up and I turn on Zoom and I visit with really good Zoom friends in the Bay Area of California, in the East Bay and Northern California. And then that recording, I simply pop that onto YouTube, and I've been doing that for, golly, nearly 5 years now, getting up every morning and doing one of these little talks. And so now there's this compendium of these little talks on YouTube, and thank you for liking and subscribing, because it is an unabashed goal of mine to spread the love and the light and the peace and the wisdom of yoga and meditation around the world to the degree that I can. We all have X amount of certain capacity to spread hopefully as much love, light, and truth as I'm capable of. And I bet you're interested in the same sort of thing. So thank you for doing me a huge favor and smashing that like and subscribe button down below. Okay, infomercial completed. Now I only have a couple minutes. But the topic this week, I think, is a juicy one, and it's along the lines of those silly people who say everything happens for a reason. And so I was thinking of what are some corollaries of that. A corollary of everything happens for a reason is there are no accidents. You may have heard that one before. And to me, they all stem from a spiritual principle that says all things happen together. All things happen together for good for those who love God. And so now we're talking about this ideal, this principle, this law that runs through the universe that says there's a coherent, rational, cohesive, coordinated intelligence, wisdom, cause and effect running throughout all things all the time. Okay, so one of the ways that I try to exercise my own critical thinking to the degree that I can, rather than just swallowing things at whole cloth that, just because somebody else says something, which I've done a lot in my life. And part of to whatever degree I've matured, whatever degree that is to kind of think things through on my own and exercise some critical thinking. So I'm going to mention two things that one might say against everything happens for a reason and there are no accidents. Childhood cancer, Auschwitz. No accidents, everything happens for a reason. Okay, so what are we to do about that? I think that's a good question. But here's what I think it reveals, because I see a lot of things that to me seem accidental, random, chaotic, the way that my perception works. And then here's what it boils down to. And you can tell me what you think, that everything should make sense to me. The world should fit into my understanding, into my worldview. And from inside of here, it's very easy for me to look out and say, that's an accident, that didn't happen for a reason, that's a mistake, that's random, and that's chaotic. And that's so decidedly small-minded and self-willed. And to me, it's a choice. Here's the choice that I think is involved, that there's one angle of looking at reality that says everything should make sense to me and my worldview. And the other angle is I am in a world and it's my duty, job, obligation to exercise my own wisdom, my own introspection, my own examination, my own meditation, my own humility, and my own process to grow my mind where there seems to be an accident or there seems to be a lack of reasonableness happening, and to, instead of expecting or demanding reality fit my picture, to expand and to increase and to push out on the boundary of my own understanding so that I can find understanding where previously it was absent. That does require a degree of humility And if humility doesn't work, it requires a degree of humiliation. And sometimes, as we say in the recovery movement, being beaten into reasonableness. Isn't that a wonderful phrase? I was beaten into reasonableness. Well, there's that word reason again. Everything happens for a reason, including being beaten into reasonableness. Anyway, I don't have all the answers on this topic. I have large questions about it, but I am a seeker to find the underlying wisdom, unity, and cohesive, coordinated genius that underlies the universe that's much more vast than anything that I've thought of so far. But it does require this point of view that instead of making reality fit my picture, I stretch and open my brain to include a larger picture, understanding, and coherent experience of reality. Okay, have a reasonable day. I hope everything happens for a good reason for you today, and that if there is an accident, it's a damn good one that leads to something great happening for you. See ya.